The first saree I wore was after when I got married. I didn't know how to wear the saree, but one of my friends, she told me, and first time she did it for me, and I watched it, and even until now, I put the pins right on the top of the pleats when I put them insert into my petticoat. In this way, it stays in one level.
In the Deed, first time I did wear sari on my convocation day to collect my degree, because it was written that everyone has to wear sari. I didn't have sari. I have borrowed a sari which was of light blue color, and people were saying that I am looking very majestic. But people do say that sari does look very good on me. And I have got a couple of saris. They are lying in the suitcase. Because in this weather, it is very difficult to run around and wear a sari. So I always wear sari with the help of someone.
Today, the tradition has changed. The girls, I think, they find very difficult to handle whole of this 6-yard sari, and they get tired for longer ceremonies. So what they preferred is chaniya choli. Is a chaniya, beautiful, and then the waist part is open, and then the top, but top is really, really good. And chundari, they just hang it on the one side of the shoulder. But all this also comes from mama or nana and nani. And we call that a special mameru. It comes in the mamera charm.
First time I wore a sari was when I went to Navratra Garba. And my mom put the sari on, and that was sort of a yellowish sari.
નામ પુષ્પા છે અને હું 18 વર્ષની હતી ત્યારે મેં સાડી પહેરવાની ચાલુ કરી, અને પછી લગભગ 20-21 વર્ષે મારા લગ્ન થયા. ત્યાર પછી તો સાડી જ પહેરતી હતી, અને પછી જુદા જુદા કલરની ઘણી સાડી લગ્ન થયા એટલે તો આપણા પિયરના ઘરની હોય ને સાસરાના ઘરની હોય. અને મોમ્બાસા, મારું પિયર નાઇરોબી હતું અને સાસરું મોમ્બાસા હતું. એટલે મારો જન્મ કરાતીના ગામમાં થયો હતો. પછી અમારા લગ્ન પછી અમે મોમ્બાસા આવ્યા. મોમ્બાસા અમે લગભગ 20-22 વર્ષ રહ્યા, અને પછી અહીં લંડન 1976માં આવ્યા, અને અહીંયા આવીને હું સાડી જ ઘરમાં પહેરું છું. ને હજી એ પણ બધે બારે સાડી, કોઈ દી પંજાબી સૂટ કે ટ્રાઉઝર હું પહેરતી જ નથી. અને હોલિડેમાં જાય તોય હું તો સાડી જ પહેરું છું. એટલે બધા મને કહે કે તમે સાડી પહેરીને પણ સારું ચાલી શકો છો, કોઈનો હાથે નથી પકડવો પડતો, અને સાડી પહેરીને ફાસ્ટમાં ચાલો છો. અને સાઉથ અમેરિકા ગયા હતા ને અમે, તો કેટલા માચું પીચું ઉપર ચડ્યા હતા, તો એ મેં સાડી પહેરીને જ ગઈ હતી. અને પછી નીચે સાડી પહેરીને કોઈનો પણ હાથ પકડવો નથી પડ્યો, નથી લાકડી લેવી પડી. ત્યારે તો બધા સાડી જ પહેરતા. હવે ટ્રાઉઝર ને પંજાબી સૂટ પહેરવાનું વધારે થઈ ગયું છે ને, ત્યારે તો લગભગ બધા સાડી જ પહેરતા. પણ ધોળિયા લોકો તો એ લોકો એપ્રિશિએટ કરે આપણી સાડી જોઈને, એ લોકો ઊભા રહી જાય, જોવે કે આ સાડી પહેરીને આવી છે, એટલે ઇન્ડિયન છે? પછી મને પૂછે, અમે કે હા અમે ઇન્ડિયન છીએ.
મને મારી મમ્મી તરફથી કહેવામાં આવ્યું કે આ જે સાડી તને બધી આપી છે એમાં તું જ્યારે તારે સાસરે જશે તો તારી નણંદને જે ગમે તે એ પહેલી ઉઠાવી લેશે, તો તું રિસાઈ ના જઈશ. તો હું કોલેજમાં ભણતી દીકરી હતી, તો થોડી દાદાગીરીથી મને જે પસંદ હતી તે સાડી મેં બેગમાં મૂકીને હું લઈ જ નહોતી ગઈ કે તે નણંદ લઈ લે. એટલે આ મારું ચીટિંગ આજે કન્ફેસ કરું કે લગ્નને દિવસે નણંદને ગમી તે લીધી, પણ મારી ચોઈસ મારી પાસે જ રહી. થેન્ક યુ.
તો હું સાવ નાની હતી ને ત્યારથી મને સાડી એટલી બધી ગમતી હતી કે હું ચણિયા ચોળી પહેરું અને ઉપર ચુંદરી લઈ, અને માથે ઓઢવાનો પણ એટલો બધો શોખ હતો, અને લાચ કાઢવાનો પણ એટલો બધો શોખ હતો. પણ મારું સાસરું એવું મળ્યું કે મારે લાચ પણ ના કાઢવી પડે, અને મારા દાદા
અને સાડીની તો આપણે જેટલી વાત કરીએ એટલી ઓછી છે. એના ઘણી બધી જાત જાતના ઉપયોગ થાય છે. સાડી જૂની થાય એટલે પહેલાં સુતરાઉનો રિવાજ હતો, એટલે પાપડ સુકવવામાં વાપરે, પછી કોઈ વખત એની ગોદડીઓ કરે, પછી એના બારીના પડદા કરે, એવા ઘણા બધા ઉપયોગ થતા હતા. અને પહેલાંના વખતમાં જ્યારે નાઇટ ડ્રેસ નહોતા ત્યારે સાડીઓ એ લોકો કાઢીને ખાલી એકલી સાડી પહેરી લે, ચણિયો ના પહેરે અને બ્લાઉઝ પણ ના પહેરે, અને એકલી સાડી એને એકસરી સાડી કહેતા એ લોકો, અને નાઇટ ડ્રેસ તરીકે એકલી પાતળી સાડી પહેરીને સૂઈ જતા.
અને હજી યાદ છે, વર્ષો પહેલાંની વાત કરું છું, મારા મમ્મીને એક સાડી આપી હતી એ લોકોએ એમના લગ્ન વખતે. એટલી બધી ફાઇન સાડી ભરેલી હતી. ત્યારે નાના હતા ને મને જ્યારે બતાડીને તો મેં કીધું ને આમાં તો બધું દેખાય છે, મને ના ગમે એવી એમાં, કારણ કે પહેલાં પાતળું મટીરિયલ આવતું એમાં, સી થ્રુ જેવી સાડી હતી, પણ એ આખી સાડી વીટીમાંથી નીકળી જતી હતી. એક વીટીમાંથી આખી સાડી નીકળતી હતી. એટલું ફાઇન ભરતકામ ને એટલું ફાઇન ભરેલું હતું. અને એક એમની પાસે સાડી હતી, એ ઇલેક્ટ્રિક બલ્બ્સ મૂકેલા હતા અંદર, સાડીની અંદર બલ્બ્સ મૂકેલા હતા કે એ ચાલે ને ત્યારે એમાં બલ્બની લાઇટ થતી હતી.
તો અમે એન્ટિગા હતા, એ એક ટાપુ છે વેસ્ટ ઇન્ડિઝનું, અને ત્યાં આગળ હું ભણાવતી હતી, ટીચ કરતી હતી ગ્રામર સ્કૂલમાં. તો ત્યાંના બધા છોકરાઓ તો કેટલા મોટા હોય સેકન્ડરી સ્કૂલમાં, અને ઓ લેવલ્સ કરતા હોય તો 18 વર્ષના હોય તો 6 ફૂટના હોય. પણ હું ત્યારે હું સાડી પહેરીને ભણાવવા જતી હતી. એટલે આપણને અતરું લાગે જ નહીં જરાય કે આપણે છીએ, અને કોઈને પણ નવાઈ ના લાગે કે આ શું પહેર્યું કે કશું, તે એક્સેપ્ટેડ યુ. એટલે હું એનો અર્થ એમ કે ઇટ ઇઝ અ યુનિવર્સલ ડ્રેસ, અને ઇફ યુ કેરી ઇટ નાઇસલી, યુ વેર ઇટ કોન્ફિડન્ટલી, નથિંગ કેન બીટ યોર નેશનલ ડ્રેસ.
આ ઘરચોરું મારું લગ્નનું, એની સાથે લાલ ચણિયો, લાલ બ્લાઉઝ, બંગડી અને બિંદી, આ બધું મેં છે ને એક બેગમાં રાખ્યું છે. અને મારા હસબન્ડને કહું પહેલાં જાઉં તો મને આ બધું પહેરાવજો, આજ પહેરાવજો પેટીમાં.
સાંજના 6 વાગ્યાના ચાલુ થયા હતા લગ્ન, પછી એ પતી ગયું, પછી બધા જમવા બેઠા. જમી લીધું તો 11 થયા રાતના. 11 થયા ને પછી ફેરા ફરવાનો ટાઈમ આવ્યો, એટલે 2 ખુરશી સામસામે રાખી, બાજુમાં રાખી, પછી ફેરા ફર્યા. સવારના 4 વાગે લગ્ન કરીને અમે ઉઠ્યા હતા.
I'm Kamala Pillai, and I'm 90 years old, and I was born blind, totally blind. Dad found out that I was blind when I was only about 6 months old, because they dress you, they leave you on the floor, and they carry on with their work. So he came from work. He had a very nice job. He used to come for breakfast and lunch and everything. So he gave me something to hold it. I wouldn't take it. I couldn't see it. So I ignored it. And he rolled something else to me, and I still didn't make an attempt. So he told his mother, "Oh, this child is blind." He said, "Don't talk rubbish." So she said, "No, she's all right." Oh, then of course, that's when they started taking me here, there, and everywhere, and putting all sorts of muck in my eyes. So after a couple of weeks, there was no improvement in my eyes, and they were still taking me here, there, and everywhere to different places, try all sorts of things. I was left with one operation. The other I had 3 operations, and then I carried on. Went to a normal school, which was a Catholic school, and they were very, very strict there. Of course, I went with my brothers because they were in the higher standard and I was in the lower. So I went to school every day, taking 2 buses to go to school. And I used to play, because I was like any other normal child, used to take part in things. And of course, they used to sting me with a ball, and they stung me on my eye, broke my glasses. Then my brothers had to take me home, and I couldn't do anything. And, so that was that. And when I went late one day to school, because my brothers didn't wait for me, they left me behind, because I wasn't quite ready. And I had to go on my own. Luck will hold it. When I went for the bus, one of my dad's clients who were working under him, he was driving a truck or something. So he stopped. He said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm waiting for the bus. So I'll give you a lift. Where are you going?" And he gave me a lift halfway, and then I still had to take one more bus and go to school. I managed all that, although my sight was bad, I did not give up. I carried on. And I went about 10 minutes late to school. And then I was sent to the headmistress. I was caned because I was late, the discipline. But she didn't hit me hard. I remember that very, very clearly. She just sort of... And then I did very well in school because my dad was very proud of me. He kept all my reports and my certificates and all that. And standard 6 was the public exam in South Africa at that time, like the O-levels and so on. And I got a first class pass. Again, that was very... I pleased my dad and uncles and all that. They were all very pleased about it. I did so well and so on. Went to Tamil school, that's our vernacular language. And after that, I was at home because the doctor said you can't go any further in studies. It's going to affect your eyes, so I couldn't go do any more. I gave up before doing my JC, Junior Certificate Examination. What they call JC, now they call it O-levels. I couldn't do that, and I had to give up. So I was at home and became a marriageable age. Then the people told my husband, who was my brother's friend, my brother's friend, he came home one day with them and he saw me and he wanted to get married to me. But people told him, what are you going to marry the blind girl for? So they kept putting him off and he said, no, well, I'm going to marry her. If not, I'm not getting married at all. So he was determined. And I was 26. My sister got married before me because people said, don't marry that blind girl. Everybody kept putting whoever. Those days they used to have to come home and propose. You couldn't find your own young man and all that those days, is it? So I was at home with my parents and that's what happened. We got married and for the engagement my parents had, because I got married after my sister, there were 6 of us, 2 girls and 4 boys. My sister, who was younger than me, she got married before me, 2 years before me. And when it came to my turn, they had, they were very proud because now I was getting married, you see. So they had the marquee there because we had a big home and a big yard and everything. Anyway, they had a big engagement, huge, invited a hell of a lot of people and musicians and so on and so forth. And I was dressed up. And those days, although I came from a very rich family and a big family, they still didn't want you to wear makeup. So as you were growing up, you become a teenager, you want to wear some makeup. So one of my uncles saw that and he told my dad, I see she's wearing lipstick and all that now. It's not right. So he told his wife, which was my aunt, and so they said, no, you shouldn't wear that anymore, so I didn't go on.
Tell us what you wore as an outfit and what type of saris and all that.
Well, I had a normal sari, sort of very pretty, I must say. Oh my God, all different colors, no particular color, it was all sorts of colors. But it was beautiful, with lots of work on it sometimes it was just floral, sometimes, lots of different jari work and sequin works and what have you. So for the wedding now, you got to wear that sari which they give you for the wedding, for the engagement. You would keep that sari and you go with that, then they bless you and all that. Then they give you another lot of sari. You have to go and get changed with that sari before you come and sit at the canopy where they decorate it and all with lights and what have you. And you got to wear that sari which they give you the second time, for the wedding. You got to wear that sari and blouse and all that and come and sit there, and then the wedding is performed by the priest. And after that, they look at the time as to when you can go to your in-laws, back with your husband. Of course, your parents give you all your clothes and all that, don't you? I took hell of a lot of saris and blouses and blah blah, whatever.
Do you remember how many saris you took?
God, I didn't bother to count anyway. I had some beautiful saris, and I used to wear. I didn't wear them to the temple. I was still young then. Before I got married. I still wore frocks, and I went to the temple. But when there was something there, the special prayer, and I took part in the singing and so on. Then I used to wear a sari for years to look nice. So I wore a sari. They dressed me up in a sari. Then I started wearing a sari. I thought, well, I've got to wear sari every day. Oh gosh, my mum had different saris for every day. And one day, my mother-in-law, the girl wasn't there or something like that, and she had to do the ironing herself. And in South Africa, it's very, very hot. So she was ironing and she was perspiring, and she told her husband, he said, oh God, I don't know why we have to do things. I had service, I didn't do anything. So she was doing it herself. I think the girl who she worked for her, she wasn't there or something, so she had to do some ironing, and she was moaning because it was so hot. And what my father-in-law told us, who's asking you to wear a sari and do all that work then? Why don't you dress something simple where you won't be so hot? I jumped in, didn't I? I said, you really mean that, Mom? We call him Mom. He said, Mama, it is right, but I anglicized it and called him Mom. You really mean that, Mom? Yes, why not? Of course, the very next day I had a dress on, didn't I? Only when I went out I started wearing sari, but I wore a dress every day. I brought my dresses which I had, and skirts and blouses and yeah, I took the opportunity. Well, I jumped in, because I was hot as well, and I'm not used to wearing sari every day. And we came to London, and my daughter was only 5 years old then, because I had a daughter after just one period, and so it was soon after. So you can imagine, we came to London when she was 5. Oh, the family didn't want me to come. My mother said, you're going to an English country. What if he finds an English girl there? What are you going to do? How are you going to cope? I said, I don't think that will happen, Mom. Because my husband was, he was very, very fond of me. Although my sight, he knew how my sight was later, that I wasn't perfect. But it didn't bother him at all. He just loved me. Bitterly cold. So we came here, and that's another thing, because my husband didn't have much money. So when I came here, I started wearing my sari because I wanted to show people I'm not any other, scrub. I wear sari all the time. I wore a sari. Then I told my husband, I said, look, I think we can't carry on like this. I can't live in a flat like this all our life. We've got to find a home, get a home, and, live like what we used to. So he said, yeah, we have to save up. So I said, then you can't work on your own and just save up. I'll help you. I'll go to work as well. I said, you haven't worked. How are you going to work? Oh, I'll work. I'll do something, I said.
What did you wear at work?
I wore sari in the beginning all the time. I didn't wear dresses. I still wore saris all the time.
So how did people react to you in your saris?
At that time in the factory, there were no problems there. They were all simple people, and they used to just admire my saris. And to look for another job, I worked in Woolworths, which was in the High Street. I was in charge of the crockery, China department. And when customers came there, I want the Indian lady to serve me, because I used to be particular in how I checked the things. You had a certain way of checking the goods. You have to like that, and then you see whether there's a crack or a chip or anything like that. I don't remind her of that. That's why she's such a good housewife now. She's excellent.
So when you went to work in the office after that?
Oh, well, then because of my daughter, I had to give up Woolworths. They gave me a test before they took me on there. And I passed the test, of course. And then I was working. Then I gave that up. And I went to Eagle Star then. That was another 3.5 or 4 years I worked in
Okay, so in Eagle Star, tell us what you wore
Eagle
at work.
Star, there I wore sari again, because I went back to sari. Because when I was in Woolworths, I wore dresses then.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back, because everyone was wearing dresses there. So I just kept the dresses. And I wore sari every day, and that's when I told you they were all jealous, wanted to know how many saris I got. Like an idiot, I counted the saris and I told them, didn't I?
And how many were there saris?
300. Okay. Well, they were not all good saris,
But it was 300.
Yeah, it was 300.
And you wore a different one every day?
Every day. Because I had so many.
Yeah.
And you want to dress up, you've got so many. What you going to do? And that really got their back up. I can't help it. They asked me, and I was so naive and innocent, because I've never worked in mixed with a lot of different people and all the rest of it. Really spoiled child, in other words. Even my husband spoiled me. So, I told them everything, and that was it.
So people did. When you were out about and you wore a sari, tell people's reaction to.
Well, they just looked at you as if, some person's fallen from heaven or something. With the looks they gave you.
And she must always
Oh yeah, that's another
flower
thing.
in her
Oh
hair.
my God, yeah.
Matching flower.
It wasn't fresh flowers, it used to be plastic. And even the eye specialist, Leighton's it was that time, I went there and that lady, oh gosh, that sari, that flower, where's your flower today? One day I think I forgot to put my flower in. I was I think, I'm not being, big-headed about this. I think I was unique. Wearing a sari, wearing a flower in my hair to match my saris and all that, and everybody knew me, because of that. People used to talk to me, sometimes I didn't know them.
My name is Jadraben Bhagat, and what else?
Age.
I'm 80 years old now. I'm born in Zimbabwe in 1938.
Tell us your life growing up in Zimbabwe. What was it like?
It was very nice, Zimbabwe. My grandfather was a rich man, and he had 5 sons. So we had a shop, like a, what do you call it? Departmental shop for selling clothes and that. My grandfather had a laundry.
Mm-hmm.
He used to wash, get clothes, all the hotels. He used to get all the hotels, serviettes and all, bed sheets and things like that. We had a big laundry, and then we had machines and everything. So I used to go and collect all the clothes from the hotels, Princess Hotel, Palace Hotel, Sisters Hotel, all the hotels, and he used to bring. And then my mother used to sort out all the hotel stuff, different. She knew which hotel's clothes it was. And then even she had children, babies, she used to work right till 12, 11 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, sorting out all the clothes. Before I got married, I told my dad I want to learn to drive and get a car. But I got married to a very poor man, but I got my license. I was the first Indian woman to get a license in Zimbabwe. None of the ladies wanted to drive. And then I got married in 1955, March. I got my license in January, and I got married in March.
So how did people react to Indian woman driving in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I was the first Indian woman picking up ladies to bring them at my house. They used to say, come and get me, come and get me. I used to drive. I was about 14 years old, and they wanted to, I was engaged, or they got me engaged, and I was only 14. Proposal came, so they got me engaged, but I had another 2 sisters behind me. So they say, if you get the big one, get married, then the other 2 sisters will get proposals, like that. So they got me engaged, and the engagement stayed for 3 years. And I was going to school, in high school. I only went 2 years in high school, and then I got married in 1955. Yeah, only first time I saw him when I got engaged. That also, I didn't go out with him, I didn't want to see him. I didn't want to get married, first of all. And then after 3 years I got married, but when I got married they had a very big wedding, yeah. There was a wedding in the morning, and there was a reception in the afternoon for the young children, then there was a reception in the evening for couples, and the next day they sent me off with the husband. The first time I wore a sari when I got engaged. And my mother never used to buy me any English clothes because, in Zimbabwe, once you're married, you never wear English clothes. None of the girls. So I only had a skirt and blouse, nice skirt and blouse to go out sometimes, and only had to wear saris after I got married. Only saris, no English clothes at all.
So on your wedding day, do you remember the kind of sari you wore, the colours, and where you bought the sari from? That
On the wedding day, the sari, the mama brings it, isn't it? They give you the sari.
Mama is
The
it's
mother's
like mother.
brother.
Yeah, he brings you the sari.
Yeah.
So
they give you the sari to wear for the wedding.
So tell us what this sari was like.
The sari was just a plain white sari, and they give you a veil, you know, that red veil to put on top of your head. But I didn't even wear that. I don't think so. I was staying on the flats, and there was an old house, there was a room and a bathroom there. So he used to sleep there and come and have dinner with us on my father's house. He used to go and open the shop and work there. Come 5 o'clock and come and have dinner at 6, 7 o'clock. Okay. And I used to cook, but never saw him. He used to come. As soon as I know that he's coming, I go in the room and I lock myself up. And my sister used to feed him, and then he used to go down, then I come out. I just did that, you know. 17 when I had my first child, after 3 years married. Yeah, I got married after 3 years. And the next year, 1955 and 56, I had my eldest daughter.
So tell us then, when did you settle here? Because obviously you're coming backwards and forwards with different...
I came 10 times coming up and down, 10 times like that. And then my son's wife was getting twins, you know. So I came here when she was due for her twins. So I came to this country. Frustrated in the house, so I used to tell my son, I can't stay all day in the house cleaning, cooking and all that. They go look for a job. So I used to go and look for a job in the charity shops. I used to go twice a week, cancer research. I used to only wear saris.
And how did you find people reacting to you wearing saris, like everyday life?
I was in the house all the time.
All the time, okay.
Yeah. And I went to work in Sainsbury's, and then they gave me the uniform. I had to wear skirt and blouse. It was too much for me. I used to think I was naked. I used to wear the skirt, and I used to tell everybody, can you see anything at the back? Then I started wearing trousers, and that's how I started wearing my English clothes. Never wore in my life. And it was all right. And I used to wear weekends, I used to wear my saris. And going out for weddings and things like that. You get lovely materials. Sometimes it's like silk and embroidered nicely with lots of sequences. And it's very popular.
Okay.
When you go, the rivaj is that when you're going out or weddings, you wear a nice sari. Nice Bareli sari. I think Bareli ki. Embroidered saris or, you know, with border and everything like that. For weddings and things like that. But when you go for funerals and that, you wear white saris. Not bright one at all. Light color saris, cream or light white or something.
And the widows, would they wear...
The widows, they wear white saris, isn't it?
Yeah, start. Engagement, yeah.
When you get engaged, the mamas bring the sari and the blouse and janyo and the petticoat and the jewelry and everything, they bring it. Then people give you after that. But when you get married, the mamas give you a sari and then you wear that sari to get married, and then the groom's parents give you a sari like a garchodu, you know, it's called garchodu. A special sari.
Okay.
Then when you're getting a baby, in 7 months they do a ceremony. And then the parents come with all the saris and to make you wear, and jewelry and everything. Your parents will come with all that. The ceremony is like, you have your sari like this and they put some fruit and things like that in the sari. Then you give it to the other girl and you put in yours 7 times like that. And then at the end you take it. And there's fruit and everything, so the girl who's getting a baby, she have to eat all that fruit.
So, now the children born in this country, second, third generation, do you think they will carry on the culture of wearing sari at all?
Well, they will wear saris because they like it. Our children, they like wearing, because they go to garbas, they like to wear saris. But not everyday way. But to wear sari, they like it. It's nice, it looks nice and elegant, very nice. So when they go out for other weddings or something, they're always wearing saris. Some people wear long dresses, Punjabis and things like that. But my granddaughters still wear saris. They like saris. But it's up to them nowadays, They like outfits, more outfits than saris.
Okay, but sari you think is going to continue for...
Yeah, the saris won't go out because they like saris also.
I think I've got over 300 saris and it's brilliant. It's different material, different embroidery, different color, style. So say about 325, I've got all the saris. My favorite sari? Many. Which I can't get apart from them. Okay, this is a very precious sari for me. It's for my engagement, I wore it. In 1970, we paid about 5,000 rupees. At that time, the 5,000 rupees was like 5,000 pound. And the silk is very, very thin silk material. But the jari made the sari very heavy and beautiful piece, very comfortable. It is from my parents. Yes. And that's it. After that, I haven't worn it. It's too heavy, but very nice. It's all over jari and it's pure jari. This is a katang silk from South India. I'm not quite sure whether it's a Bangalore or Mysore or Karnataka, but this is with silver and gold thread, which is again very expensive, and the pallus represents the flowers. So it may be Kerala, but it is only among the richer people, and again you cannot see any threads or knots or anything in the weaving, and it's a real gold and silver jari. But jari is a gold thread. So this one is also with the gold thread, and it looks nice. It is again comfortable, and the silk is called Gaji silk. This is my wedding time collection, and Rajkoti saris are usually in two-tone, so two shades. This, and usually they have designs like an elephant, a bird, and things like that. And they also have a goddess in there, but I don't know the name of the goddess, but maybe Mataji, because they do believe in Mataji a lot. They are expensive. Nowadays, they become very expensive because it is very much in fashion. And it is worn by rich people, middle class people, lower caste people. They all wear them, but it depends on the material. As the material goes better, it gets expensive. This bandhani is from Jamnagar, and it's got two pastel colors, which I really liked it, and I bought it from Jamnagar. But it became very favorite for my mother. My mother wore this sari twice, and she's passed away now, but we all has her photograph with this sari in everybody's house, and she looks so pretty with this sari. The blouse itself is a very important costume with the sari. If your blouse don't have right fitting, then the sari doesn't look right. You have to have a nice shoulder fitting, your at cut, this one, and your katori, and this part. Now, if you like to wear sari with your tummy show, then you have to have that length. Okay, this is one of my very oldest sari. Probably I must have bought it from 1990s, and I liked it because it represents Radha and Krishna's affair,
Romance.
and romance under sari is a pure chiffon. I bought it in 1970s when I was a student at university, and in hostel. In my lobby, most of them were home science students. So they used to have all different projects to do, and I was very interested. I was doing a BA with psychology, but they were doing home science. So one of the girl was very close with me, and she was from Mumbai. She used to get all the paint and everything from Mumbai. It was difficult to get it in Vadodara. So I asked her. I bought this chiffon from Vadodara, and then I asked, and with her help, I painted myself. I wore it so many times, but I cannot get apart from this sari, so it's still lying in my wardrobe. I can't wear it now because I have put so much weight on now. But it's lovely sari. One day probably my daughter-in-law, my daughter will wear them. Okay, this sari, I asked, I think it was Muslim guy, and he was so nice, and he said, Ben, તમને જેવી જોઈએ એવી સાડી કરી આપો. Whatever you like, I'll get it ready. So I said, I don't want any thread in my sari. And he said, oh, that's brilliant. Okay, we'll have beads and sequences. And he showed me this. He showed me all color, everything, and I said, I want black because it was, I'm going to wear it at my husband's 60th birthday. And this was the sari he prepared. It was all my choice, and this blouse piece, and it's like all shades coming. At night, it looks brilliant. All the shades, different shades, pink, blue, and gold, and everything. And he did it, and this one was some kind of nylon from India. It looks like very soft and material, like it's not like a nylon, but it is a nylon. And then in contrast, he also gave me another blouse because I said I don't want to see all black, black, black. So he gave me this blouse as well, which is less embroidery, only sleeves.
How long did it take him to do this whole sari?
I think he gave me within 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Once I ordered, after 8 weeks it was ready.
And you wore this for party?
60th birthday party
of
my husband. And everybody was happy, and he was happy too. It looked so nice.
My name is Saree Reinveted. I'm 75 years old. I was born in Uganda, Kampala. I came in this country in 1972 as a refugee. I'm married with 2 boys. One was only 3 months old when I came to this country. I didn't bring many saris because we were only allowed 1 suitcase, about 10-12 saris. I was wearing saris since I got married, and I came in this country as well wearing sari, living with English family wearing sari, and went to work in sari as well. And nobody really said no to me, and they were very happily accepted me as wearing sari. When it used to snow, which was quite few months in this country, I used to wear sari with no problem at all. When I got married, I wore one white sari with a red border, and then I had another sari which is all red. Now still people wear white and red. So the custom is still the same. When I got married, my parents gave me 51 saris, and my mother-in-law gave me 11 saris. They all have to be brand new saris. Second day, when I changed my clothes, first suitcase, my sister-in-law opens the suitcase and she can pick up one sari what she likes, any one sari.
So it could be the sari that you really like.
Oh yes, sometimes it does, but luckily
She didn't pick the sari.
She didn't pick my best saris.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, when somebody loses husband, they know in the past normally they used to wear white saris, but it's changing now and people wear light colors. This is Dakshini. Yeah, isn't it?
Dakshini. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is
I'm
different from
Dakshini sari.
Gujarati sari. This is different from Gujarati.
Yeah, Gujarati is the other way. And you can buy a plain sari, and then I took it to India to do the embroidery.
So this is the embroidery that you had. So you had this done in India?
Yes. You need blouse, and you need under
petticoat.
Petticoat. You want to sew.
Okay, and this blouse, has to be made fitted to.
Yeah, you take it to the tailor. They take all your measurements and they make it for you.
So where did you go in this country to buy sari?
Wembley or Green Street.
How often do you buy saris now? And when you were younger to what you now?
I used to buy a lot. But now I have stopped buying.
You don't buy that often?
No. I've got plenty of saris. So this sari is called Paithani, and it's more popular with pallau and a border. There are so many different types in this. This is from Pune. This is a batik sari.
And how old is this sari?
It's about 45 years old. I bought it for this in this country.
So you have grandchildren and obviously daughter-in-laws. Do you think this sari culture, will they follow it?
I hope so. I think they will, and I hope so as well.
My name is Mridula Ben Patel, and I was born in India in a town called Nadyad. I went to school there, and I was there until I was 11, 12. Fortunately or unfortunately, I went to boys' school, and I was the only girl there. So I had the privilege of going into the school last and coming out of the school first, so that the boys wouldn't tease me. School was right opposite where we were living, and even before I went to school officially, I used to go and stand outside and learn a lot. So the teachers in the end said, okay, you can. I had great time, I enjoyed everything. Unfortunately, my parents then moved to East Africa in a town called Mombasa, so I had to learn English. So first 6 months I spent at home having a private tuition and learned good English speaking and English writing. That gave me great encouragement because I was able to go to the school and talk to everybody else. The school I went to was a British English school, and I really enjoyed it because there were lots and lots of different communities there. When it came to finishing school, they were asking what we wanted to do. I would have loved to go and do medicine, but I knew that my parents could not afford it. Not just the education, but the following the exams and everything, what is expected of an Indian girl. I knew my parents would not be able to contain that. So I decided to go into nursing, and fortunately I could do nursing in Kenya. So I did 3 years nursing. Following that, the Kenya government sent me to London to do postgraduate, which was midwifery and theatre nursing. And I was here for nearly 18 months. I went back to East Africa, worked for 1 year because they had paid for all my fares and everything. My parents also encouraged me that we owe them something back. So I worked for 1 year, and then I met my husband and got married. And immediately getting married, I came back to London. At school, I had made a pen friend. So the pen friend was English. She got married at the age of 17, which was very unusual for an English family. And she came from a village in Yorkshire. She had never been beyond York in those days, but she came to meet me at the airport. When she came at the airport, she had told me that she'll meet me, but I had never been to a British airport. And at school, I had made a pen friend. So the pen friend was English. She got married at the age of 17, which was very unusual for an English family. And she came from a village in Yorkshire. She had never been beyond York in those days, but she came to meet me at the airport. When she came at the airport, she had told me that she'll meet me, but I had never been to a British airport, and neither had she been. So I was sitting inside, and she was sitting outside, and there was this tannoy going on. They are looking for, my name is spelled Mrudula. The person who was looking for me had my photo in his hand, and he was saying, it's Mr. Udula. So all along I kept thinking, I can't see any Mr. here, but I don't know. In the end, I saw this gentleman come round me with his hand and a picture in his hand, and he was looking at me, so I stood up. Having been in a strange country and somebody got my photograph, I was quite alarmed. So I stood up, and he kept saying, don't worry, ma'am, don't worry, have a seat, it's okay. I want to know if you are this person. And I said, yes, I am, but where did you get my photograph from? Oh, somebody is waiting outside for you. And that just clicked that probably my friend Kathleen is probably waiting outside. But I said to him, I'll follow you and watch where I'm going, because I wasn't sure if I was going in the right place. Fortunately, I met my friend there, and then of course it was lovely. But coming out of the airport, we had no idea about the transport in London, neither had she. So I said to her, okay, I think we have to take a taxi. So she said, oh, are you sure? I said, yes. You've got money? Yes, I have. So we took a taxi, and in those days, the taxis did not run everywhere. They were zoned. So they would only run within that zone. So when this end came, they stopped and asked us to get out. And there was me with my luggage and my friend. And she said, oh dear, where are we going now? And Kath afterwards says to me, she was more useless than I was because she had no idea. But before coming to London, of course, I was sent to the British High Commission's place where they used to tell us what you find in England, how you present yourself, how you use your fork and knife, and how you use your, greetings and thanking people. All this was told to me. So I knew exactly how to behave and what to do. After she got married, believe it or not, but she moved to Leicester, which is full of Indians. And she was amazed, and she often says to me, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have settled in Leicester, because I would have thought it's very strange. But having known you, I knew I would be able to settle there. First time I wore a sari, of course, being Indian and living in India, and following Indian culture, any religious ceremonies that were taking place, I always wore a sari. My mother used to dress me up. I'm one of 5 sisters and the youngest, so I used to watch everybody else and then choose the best that I like. And I always ended up having the best, which I was lucky. When I came to London, of course, it was difficult because I had not worn it myself, but I knew some way of wearing it. When I came to London, I used to wear a sari, and I used to live in a nurse's home, and I'll go out in a sari, and I could not believe it. First time, I didn't see anybody on the street, but the next time, they would just tell each other, and the whole street was outside watching me walk. So one day I stopped and I said, can I help you with anything? And they said, no, it's okay. We're just coming to see you. And I thought, that's funny. But afterwards I realized that they had not met or seen an Indian person in a sari. I was in Plymouth. After a while, of course, winter came and I couldn't always wear a sari. So then I had to get into Western clothes. Even Western clothes, for an Indian girl, for me, it was very difficult to choose what to wear. And I was used to wearing Punjabi dresses. So I used to wear salwar and top and a little chundi. And even that, the English people used to admire and say, oh, where do you get this from? How do you wear it? And all this. And it was very, very interesting. Staying in the nurse's home, of course, the girls were fascinated by all this. So there will always be a talk at the table of what food or what, if there was going to be a function, what am I going to wear? And a couple of them used to ask me if I could dress them. And I used to. So that was very, very nice. Time I had a day off or I had some spare money, I would go to a local place and visit. So I visited the whole coast of West Coast. Fortunately, at the time in Plymouth, there was a girl from South Africa who was obviously well off. She was training as well, and she had a scooter. So we used to hop on and travel around the scooter everywhere. As far as Wales, this girl, she said, why don't we travel from one end of England to another? So I said, good, let's do it. So we did. So we went to John O'Groats. From there we came all the way back to Plymouth.
So in 1960s,
yeah,
both foreigners, young girls,
traveled alone by bus.
Wow.
Yeah. And everybody used to, well, I was glad that I had somebody with me because everybody on the bus would be looking at you, thinking, oh, what are these 2 girls doing here? Though the other girl was very English, but I didn't mind, and we used to talk to each other and talk to the other people and explain to them what and who we are. So in London, I met a Swiss girl. Now I think she probably was a gay person. At that time, I did not realize. She was very boyish, and she used to smoke a cigar. But we were very good friends, and she was new and I was new to London. So any time we had time off together, like even afternoon, we would hop onto the train and go round. But the reason why we used to do that was because, more for me, in the nurse's home they used to turn off the heating. So the only place that was warm was the district line or the circle line. So we used to sit there and go round for 2 hours just to spend time and talk and meet people. It was great fun. My father, or rather my grandparents, my mother's parents, were Gandhiwadi. So they used to wear clothes that were woven at home. So my mother had Gandhi saris. So the whole, my dada, dadi, everybody, and my mamas. So when I was getting married, of course they had to follow whatever was required of the other side, so they did. And I bought some of these saris then. You might say that this is not traditional, but this is some things that I like, and I thought, why should I not choose what I want? And my parents gave me the, liberty to say, look, you buy what you want to wear. So that's what I did, and that's how I have different collection, different saris, which is not probably traditional as far as the tradition is concerned in Gujaratis. But I'm very happy with all that. When I first came to this country, I came with whatever I got for my wedding, which was 25 saris. Okay, but since then, and of course, when I reached my in-laws, the first remark was, oh dear, she hasn't got anything that's good.
So how did you feel when you heard
I
that?
was absolutely devastated. It's the first day, because it's tradition in our society that once you get married, the very next day you have to open your suitcase and show all whatever you've got, and relatives, friends all come to see it. And then she fumbled through my suitcase and my jewelry and everything, and she said, there isn't anything to see or show. And she went across and told everybody not to come. My mother-in-law was so kind. She held my head and put it on her shoulder, and she said, don't worry, you will not be able to stay with her, but I know you're not going to stay here, so it's okay. It won't be long. This is a sari that is manufactured quite recently, last 20 years perhaps. It's woven with some warm threads. So it's really meant for wearing in winter time. Especially ladies in Delhi, they wear this because it's cold there. But I really like it as well, and because I'm come to the cold country, I got this as well. This is a sari from my wedding time. I bought this and I love it. I like the pallu for it, and also this, all these strains. Apparently, I am not how far it's true. It could be true because I have been married for 55 years and the saris are just the same. I'm told that these threads are gold.
Mm-hmm. And who gave you the sari?
My parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they bought it for me, for my wedding. This is another one that was also bought during my wedding, but it was my choice. It's unusual in the sense that it's not silk, but it's satin. I like the bharat, what do you call it? Embroidery of it.
Yeah.
Again, this is as old as the other one, and it hasn't changed the color or anything, and I'm sure it's a genuine threads. I've had it dry cleaned twice. It's not changed at all.
Okay, that's beautiful.
My
and the sari that you are wearing now, tell us about this. Yeah.
This is a sari that you can wear on either side. You can change the. Now that I have put this, it's difficult, but otherwise it's meant to be worn reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I have worn it on both sides many years, and recently I decided to put this border there because it made me feel it's different now. So, and I quite enjoy it. Sari is a traditional dress for an Indian girl. The Indians believe in being very personal. They don't like to expose their body. The sari covers most of the body except hands, feet, and face. Well, the culture is that we always dress up in a sari, so we cover ourselves, which is fair enough. For tradition, it's something that suits us, I feel. I do wear English clothes, but I'm never comfortable in them. Whereas in a sari, I'm always comfortable. Either it's because I'm used to it or that's the way I like it. I'm not sure, though I have lived more years here than anywhere else. But I still like a sari. My granddaughters and my daughter-in-law, I often think of giving these saris away and they are saying, no way, Mom, you're going to give them, we're going to use them. So I'm waiting for them to start using my saris.
Do you think that the sari has a future in UK with the new generation?
I think so. I'm definitely positive because more and more youngsters are now going for saris. My daughter-in-law, she's a dental surgeon. She always wears saris. And her daughter, that's my granddaughter, she also always wears a sari whenever we have a function. And I'm very proud of them. Even my English daughter-in-law, for weddings, we go and buy her special saris which are ready-made. She finds it difficult to put it on, but you can get saris that are ready-made and all you do is just pull it up as if you're wearing a dress or something. And she loves it.
I'm Radhika. I live in Bromley in London. I was born and brought up in India. I was born in Kerala and I lived all my life across India because my dad was in the armed forces. And I've been in the UK since 2004. The saris that I'm most familiar with, that I have seen people in my family wear, are either the occasional saris, saris which are around the Kanjivaram saris, very popular in Kerala, around weddings times and for all the cultural and religious functions. And the other one is a very special sari. It's made out of cotton. It's a cream and gold combination. It's a sari, it comes in a sari form and also as a two-piece, so it's got the top half and the bottom part of it. And it is something we wear during our weddings. And also when we celebrate our festival, that's Onam. So this sari belongs to my mum, Usha. She bought it back in the 80s. This from an iconic store called Kumaran in Chennai, which used to be known as Madras back then. And this sari is a Kanjivaram sari. However, what is different and distinct about the sari is that it has no gold thread work on it at all. It's just a normal thread work, and also the weave on it, the design on it, comes from Orissa. Now this was an experiment which was done by the Kanjivaram cluster of weavers just to try something new back in the 80s. And unsurprisingly, back in the 80s, I imagine the Tamilian, the culture at the time around saris was that they stuck to very conservative, traditional Kanjivaram style of weave. So this sort of sari was not very popular at all and did not find much clientele. My mom had walked into the store and her eyes were immediately drawn to the sari. She thought that was something different, and also because my mom was an armed forces wife, she had lots of parties to go to along with my dad, and sometimes she wanted saris that were not wanted to wear Kanjivaram saris, but not necessarily the one with a lot of gold work on it. So this really fit the bill for her. So this one is called the Moirang P. It comes from Mizoram, and it's a pure cotton sari. It's made out of cotton that grows in the hills along the eastern front of India. Morangpi saris can be expensive because there aren't many weavers who are as skilled, and also it takes a long time to weave a sari of this kind, and often it's done by the women in the family. So, and it's a complete handloom. It can take days. I was told the sari took about 9 days to weave, and the finishing takes much longer. It comes with traditionally what's known as probably a temple design, and you have that, and the fineness of it is that you could easily, if you wanted, wear the sari front to back, but then there is a front side to it. They come in all kinds of combinations. They come in all kinds of colors, and traditionally you'll find it's got flowers, and very rarely it might have some animals woven. This sari cost me 13,000 Indian rupees, which is exceptionally high for a cotton sari. So unless one knows where the sari comes from and have a sense of value about it, I don't think they will quite appreciate the price tag. So I ordered this online. I had been wanting to buy a Morangpi for a long time. They are expensive as well, and there is a lot of fake in the market, which distresses me. And I was very keen that I buy only the original from a weaver directly if I could, and I managed to find somebody who could sell this to me. Yes, I've worn it a couple of times. I do wear saris quite a lot at home here. I think the British weather is perfect for wearing saris because mostly the temperatures are on the lower end, so wearing saris are very comfortable. I wear saris if I can. Most Sundays I wear them at home. When I'm working from home, I'm very comfortable draping saris and just sitting at my study table, office desk, and working. So this is known as the Parsi Gara sari. This is another very special buy, and it is one of the declining arts. You do get Parsi Gara saris in India, but they can be very expensive or very exclusive, kind of designer kind of wear. This has got the most amazing pallu I'm yet to find in an embroidered sari. The Parsi Gara saris usually depict lots of flowers and birds, occasionally animals. So this one has birds. It's completely hand embroidered. And again, there are lots and lots of fakes in.
This is the back.
This is the back.
Yeah, so you can't tell the difference.
Yes, closer eye you can, but look at the finish. You know, it's just so completely. It's so neat. Well, this one took. It took me 4 months before I got the sari.
So you ordered the sari?
I ordered the sari, and I was very keen that I wanted it as original because there is a growing trend around saris wanting to be brighter, and the Parsi saris are meant to be more elegant, muted, and I wanted somebody who could make me that. So again, just like the Morangpi, I managed to find somebody who could make me the Parsi Gara sari. I believe the person who made it is in her 60s, and it was complete needlework. And at the time when I placed the order, I knew that it would take a long time because this was a 60-year-old lady who was probably not as fast with her embroidering as she would have been in her 20s or 30s. When the Parsi Gara embroidery is inspired by the Chinese silk embroidery, which I believe back when that we still had invaders in and out of India. It must have come through that cultural exchange. Again, I know that it was one of those. It was an expensive buy for me, but I knew in my heart that it would be the right one to have. But I also know that I had a friend or two who liked the sari as well, but they went and chose a cheaper alternative, and you wouldn't know the difference. You just wouldn't know the difference. So if I was wearing the sari, there was an exact replica of it, which was sourced at 1/3 the price, and you would not know the difference.
So that would have been machine embroidery.
They would have been machine embroidered. Absolutely.
But I think it's for you is the feel.
It is the feel.
Sari, because it's a fabric.
Absolutely.
You wear it, it's against your skin.
Absolutely. I do, within my friend circle, I do try and promote more ethical buying around saris. I do try and educate them on what is genuine and what isn't genuine, and why, if you are able to buy a Banarasi sari for 3,000 rupees, why it might not be the same as buying the original, which might cost you 30,000 rupees. So there is a difference. But however, I know that people have different preferences, priorities, and of course pocket. Now this is a fairly new buy. This sari was gifted to me by my mum. My mum still travels around the country, meeting friends that she's made during her armed forces life, and everywhere she goes, she tries to pick up a sari or two for myself and my sister. So this sari she picked up when she went to Jaipur, I believe, and this is called Rai Bandhani. This is a very different kind of, it's not unusual, but it is what makes it different, is that Rai is nothing but mustard seeds. And each of these it's painstakingly putting a mustard seed inside, and of that size, if you can imagine, if you looked at this box, the dark bit inside would be where the mustard would sit, and the white bit around is where you would have a single ply thread. So this would be done all over the sari, and then it would get dipped in different natural dyes. This is a silk chiffon, very comfortable to wear. It makes for a great party wear. You can dress it up, dress it down, and I absolutely love this color. I think it reminds me of everything I know and I've enjoyed about Rajasthan. So what I have here in my hand is called Mekhla Chadar. It comes from Assam. This is the traditional wear. It's a two-piece, quite similar to the Setta Munda which we have in Kerala, which I'll show you in a while, which is a gold and cream combination. This one, the only difference, however, is this is the bottom bit, and this is like a skirt. This is completely hand woven on silk. So, can I start? So, I would have to get into the middle of this, and when it comes around to this bit, I would do that, and that would be the bottom half. The top half is like a half sari style, but slightly different in the sense in how it's finished off when you wear it. So it would be worn like that, it would go like this, and this bit, the end of it, will not be tucked in like you would do in a half sari. It would be tucked in here, and this bit would be left like that. It's Mekhla Chadar. There are different interpretations of how it's called, but I call it Mekhla Chadar, which is what I've learned from my Assamese friend. What makes this also versatile is that I have used it as a dupatta to wear with my suit. and hence why there is a pin here actually. It's just that I haven't taken it out, and it made for a lovely dupatta to go with my suit, black suit. Our family, we have quite a few of these mekhla chadars, or the Assamese one-piece saris. So my mom, my sister, we all have our own, and then we share our mekhla chadars. This sari was my mom's sister, who I call Kunyama. It's her wedding sari. She got married in 1981. I was 1 year old, 1.5 years old. And that's when my aunt became a bride and she wore the sari. This, back in the 80s, and even now for some reason, it's called the Banarasi Patola. Although I'm not sure why it's called patola, because it's not a patola weave at all, but perhaps that was the name known at the time. This was sitting in my aunt's cupboard. It hasn't been worn since her wedding, and I thought it would be a shame to see it go without it being worn, or at least held and felt and looked at. So I brought this away with me. My aunt doesn't have anyone else to pass on to, and probably did not find anyone else as passionate, maybe. So the agreement between us is that I've borrowed it, but I'm sure she'll let me have it if I wanted it. I'm yet to wear the sari. It's got a few tears. It's got a few holes. It's about 38 years old, and it's a beautiful color. It's an unusual color. When you look at the explosion of colors that you find in Banarasi saris nowadays in the market, and the garishness of the gold zari, that's when you look at this and feel this, you suddenly realize how special a buy this is. The gold zari has not been polished in 38 years. It's still as beautiful, unbroken. There is no synthetic blend in it. And it drapes beautifully. I have, in my own private moment, draped the sari just to see how it looks, and it looks beautiful. This is one of the saris I wore during my wedding. This is traditionally given by the groom's side. The groom gives it to the bride during the wedding ceremony. And this is pure gold, and this is just pure cotton, cream color. The traditional combination is gold and cream for weddings and those sort of more significant ceremonies. But you do get the sari in without gold work. Now it's in more modern versions are coming out with silver and black and all kinds of combinations. This is known as a settamunda. It has two pieces again, very similar to the mekhla chadar I showed you earlier. So you have the skirt bit. It's not a skirt actually, it's the bottom bit which you wrap around, and when it comes to this bit, you would give it one final pleat like this. There's just one pleat, just so that this gold bit runs along the length and you can see it. It really suits the weather that you have in Kerala, which is hot and humid. So the sari is perfect and is really comfortable to wear during the ceremony. And the top bit is like a dupatta. It goes around like a half sari. So this would get pleated up. It would get pleated. It would go like this. And you would again try and give it one single pleat here like this, so that this gold bit can be seen. I have also worn this as a dupatta with a cream color suit, because why not? Otherwise, as a sari, it might get worn only once or twice. but as a dupatta it can be worn many more times. We have 3 saris. We have 3 sari changes during a Kerala Nair wedding. So the first one is a sari, it can be of any color other than black or white, I suppose. And it's a sari that would be given by the bride's family. You wear that during the ceremony, and then in the ceremony while it's on, the groom gives you the Setmunda sari, and it can be another sari of any color, any type. The more popular ones are Kanjivaram saris or Banarasi saris. And then in the middle part of the whole wedding function, the gold, cream and gold Setmunda sari is worn. And then when you're leaving your side of the family and you're going away to the groom's side, you then wear the other second sari that has been given by the groom. And that's the sari you wear and you enter the groom's house. Traditions are very much there. Of course, how it's done is very different. I think as far as the ceremonies are concerned, the choices around colors and the patterns of blouses, and there's a lot of extra sort of embellishments being done now to saris, which I think really takes the realness, the genuineness out of a Kanjivaram sari. If you start sticking sequins and having all kinds of, combining it with zardosi and all the other different types of embroidery on it. But that's probably how taste for saris and taste for blouses that would go with saris are changing as well. I think saris are still as popular in India today as they were in previous times. People's choices around what saris they would go for, the colors, how much they're willing to pay, may have evolved over the period of time. My earliest memories of saris and where the passion comes from really, I would say it's come from looking at the choices my mother and my mum's sister made for themselves. So my mum, as a 19-year-old, got married, left Trivandrum and was exposed into this world outside of Kerala, and also an armed forces style of living where you had a lot of formal parties, and mostly women would wear saris which came from their region, their part of the India where they came from. But my mum really embraced, so every time my dad got transferred around, she transferred around parts of India, she would go looking at what sort of fabrics were available, what sort of saris were available, and add that to her collection. The choices that she made around her saris were necessarily in terms of colors, they could be of any color. She was really open and experimental. But in terms of how heavy they were in weight or how much gold work it had, I think she went for more muted taste around those things, just so that it would fit the bill when it came to going out to a formal armed forces dinner party. So it wouldn't look too garish or too loud. The other kinds of saris I have seen, which are more celebratory saris, were when we would go down to Kerala during our summer vacations, and we would be invited along to weddings, or it could be perhaps a childbirth in a house and there's some ceremonies attached to that, or it could be someone's housewarming, or even a funeral service perhaps. So there was quite a big difference in terms of, that's where I saw the biggest variation in sari. So if you had weddings and festivals, people would go all out, spend a lot of money and buy the best they could afford. When it came to the other end of the spectrum around funerals, people would just wear normal cotton saris or whatever, whatever is appropriate for that sort of event. If you have had a childbirth, or there's a naming ceremony, or when the child is being initiated into food, generally I have seen, or I chose for myself as well, I just wore a Kerala sari, which is a Setmunda. It was not the same as the golden cream sari which I wore for my wedding, not as heavy or expensive as that, but there are lots of different options available. So when I was in India, I did not think wearing a sari was unusual. It's what most people at either my workplaces or within my family I had seen people wear. But when I came here, I did try to seek out occasions where I could wear saris. It could just be even a dinner party at a friend's place, and if I would wear a sari, it would generate a comment, even if it was an appreciative comment. And then that's when I started realizing that actually wearing a sari is unusual. And I was surprised that that reaction also came from Indian community. Because I thought wearing sari was just normal. It was no different to wearing a salwar kameez perhaps. But somehow, there was no criticism for wearing a sari. I think it was always appreciative glances, appreciative talk, or compliments coming the way, but it just felt different every time I wore a sari.
Thanks, Lai.
So the first time I wore a sari to a non-Indian event was a Christmas party for this company I was working for, and I just chose to wear a sari. I chose to wear a more toned down, muted colored, kind of like a Banarasi sari. But again, I think people kind of really liked that, and they would come and feel the corners and ask very inquisitively, is that silk? Because it had a sheen, it looked like silk, and then there was a bit of raising of eyebrows, like, oh, silk. So then that's when it made me realize that how blessed we are to be able to wear silk so easily and have access to it in India. Whereas here, I think perhaps silk might be worn maybe at a family wedding, perhaps. I think sari tradition will continue. It might not have the volume as it does in India even today. I suppose for the next generation to wear more saris, the responsibility rests with their parents, I would say my generation, unless we educate ourselves about the type of saris available. We make an effort to not just collect, but also to wear these and to celebrate it and not look awkward or uncomfortable or make a big deal out of it. I think it would then fascinate the younger generation. Every time I have worn a sari, including this morning, my sons came, they felt the sari. What are you wearing a sari for, Mom? Is something happening special today? And I said, well, and they're used to seeing me wear saris on the days I work from home or on Sundays. I grab any opportunity to pull out a sari and wear that. So they are used to it. And I think if, as they grow up, they might have girlfriends, partners, and I would encourage them to try saris, and why not? And as a family, we host au pairs. We've had 6 au pairs so far, and every single one of them have not left without trying on a sari. And I have to say, each one of them has looked gorgeous. They have chosen colors which they might not otherwise choose, go for oranges and reds and greens, which are not the colors that maybe most white-skinned people might choose.
Yeah.
So when I wear a sari, I feel really comfortable. I don't feel awkward, unusual. In fact, the days when I am home working, wearing saris, I don't even sometimes use pins to secure my pleats on the top or down here. The idea is to wear it comfortably, drape it comfortably, move in it comfortably, and not be hindered by pins or pleats. I sometimes wear saris when they're not even ironed. They might have lots of creases in it, but that's perfectly all right. It's a garment, and it should be enjoyed the way it is. Every fabric is different. Silks, cottons, linens, mixed fabrics, georgettes, chiffons, they all react differently as you get through the day. I think we shouldn't fuss so much about the pleats not being perfect, the pins not being in the right place, sari not looking ironed, or the sari perhaps even having some tears and holes. It's okay, as long as one keeps wearing it, have fun. So the one thing I like to talk about in terms of the preservation of saris is what I've seen my mother do. She never gives up on any of her special saris that easily. If it's torn, she will get it darned. If it is stained, she will wash it as many times as she can, including dry cleaning, to see if the stain goes. If the stain will not go, she will then look at options to get the color of the sari changed, dyed into a darker color so that the stain can be hidden. Mostly the stains will happen where you least want it to be. So it will be around here where you're eating something or drinking something, it falls, or it can be on the pleat. So they're more visible parts, and not parts of the sari where you can add another pleat and conceal it. But my mum never gives up on her saris. And in fact, more recently, it's just last year when she was here, or actually the holiday before that when I was in India, I found that she had lots of scraps of sari borders and patches from different silk fabrics, cotton fabrics, mostly silk with good quality zari on it, but the saris no longer exist, and she had held on to that. And I asked her, what are you going to do with this? She said, well, actually I haven't got a plan, but if you want, you can add it to blouse sleeves, to make a border, or add it as a piping. But that just shows she's not willing to give up, and she's probably held on to those scraps for many, many years. And finally I brought it with me, thinking I'm going to do something with it. And it sat here, you get caught in the busyness of life and then not do anything. But last year when she visited me, we sat down, and I remember it was on my bedroom floor. Basically what we did is we put a flat, just a normal, like a dupatta length cloth on the carpet, and we then tried to, like a jigsaw puzzle, arrange the different scraps along that dupatta length, just to see where this will take us. And then in the end we managed to find enough scrap to actually make a dupatta to cover the dupatta length. And then I handed it right back to her because my sewing skills are not great. So I said, well, what this needs is somebody very patiently, just like a patchwork, put it all back together. So it's now back with her. I haven't checked whether she's done anything with it, but I'm sure she won't give up and I won't give up.
This is a sari that my mum bought for me when she was last in India. This is the only sort of a colourful sari that I actually have that's mine. I always loved to look at my mum's saris, but I never actually saw her wearing them. They used to hang up, and they were just beautiful fabrics. And the first time I wore a sari was when Mum let me try them on. And she did it to take photos to show the aunties back in India, because she was going and we weren't. It's a beautiful colour. Anyone that knows me knows that I always wear black. So I probably wouldn't have chosen something this colourful, but I'm really grateful that she did. Saris, for me, I thought they were always just very beautiful and very elegant. And when I saw photos of my mum in them, I thought when I got married, I wanted to wear a sari, which isn't traditional for us because we're from a Christian background. So it would normally be but here in this country, back in India, they'd wear saris back in India.
Yeah.
But in this country, it's not something normal.
I had to wear a sari for my wedding.
Yeah, but you didn't like.
I didn't like it.
Okay, yes. Tell us more about your wedding sari. Yeah.
It's ivory white, sari. I got it from India. It's just would-be husband, of course. He said, get a sari to get married here.
So
I was keen on wearing a dress, actually. Then again.
But Mum looked beautiful in it. It's got silver embroidery, which I thought was really unusual.
Yours was better one, wasn't it?
Mum bought me my wedding sari, which is
beautiful one. Yes.
And it was the first time I'd properly worn a sari in public ever. And I was really scared it was going to fall down, because when you're not used to wearing them, you don't quite understand how they all go and how they're going to stay. And I had nightmares beforehand of walking up with my dad and it all just unravelling. So I made Mum stitch stitch it onto my skirt and blouse, you know, really bad because I was that worried. But it was lovely, and I was really happy that I got to share something that with my mum, because my mum got married in a sari, and I felt really good to be getting married in a sari that mum had bought for me.
Funny, I was never comfortable with wearing sari. This is just a fiddly thing, I thought, yeah. But
would you wear one in future?
I'm not sure. I might. If I can get like you said, you can wear any kind of blouse now, can't you? Yes. Well, we'll see.
I'd like to see you in a sari.
Did you have to wear the sari?
This is my garniture. When I got married, my mother-in-law gave it to me. And when you finish the pharaoh, they put it in your head. And there's a puja, like my sister-in-law's wedding. I have to wear it on the puja. When there's a function at home, puja, I have to wear it. And when I died, they have to put this on my box.
So I can't have it.
On my box. No, you can't. No one can have it.
They have to drape you in a ghar jodu when you pass away.
When you pass away.
Hindu tradition or Indian tradition, you can say, they would put this on when you pass away as a married woman. They would put your ghar jodu on you for the funeral. But if your husband is passed away before you, then they would put you in a normal new sari for your funeral.
Yes.
So this is my wedding sari. This is called a panetar. A panetar comes from my mama, that is my mommy's brother. They buy us the panetar, and this was a white in color, and I've just got it dyed to this color so I can wear it in different occasions. And that is why this is special, because we have to wear this one first. And then once the fairas are done, then the mother-in-law will put this one on top of the white sari. And this is a ghar jodu and this is a panetar. So this is a bandhni ghar jodu, and this is a typical Gujarat. It comes from Gujarat and Rajasthan. It's a typical bandhni ghar jodu. This is a traditional Gujarati ghar jodu. Ghar jodu is what they give you as from the groom's side to the bride when they are getting married. It is a tradition. It has to be red in color, and my one is a bandhni one, and then they put it on you when you're getting married. And this is this comes from the in-laws family. Sometimes they take you to choose your ghar jodu, and sometimes they just go with the trend and buy it. This will be worn every occasion where we have a function like a puja. So we will have to wear it traditionally for everyone's wedding on the mandvo. We have to wear the ghar jodu, and for any pujas that we do at home, we have to wear the ghar jodu. The significance of the red color is the red and the green color are auspicious colors for our weddings and traditions as Hindu Dharam. It is very auspicious, and for weddings we would wear a white sari that comes from the bride's side, and after when you're doing the fairas, the groom side comes and gives you a red sari that you have to drape on top of your white sari, and that sari is called a ghar jodu, and that red sari you have to keep for the rest of your life, so because that is the tradition. And when you pass away, they have to drape you in the red sari and do your passing away ceremony with the red sari. And in any auspicious pujas that you do, you have to wear that ghar jodu as a tradition.
It's a paisley pattern, isn't it? Yeah, and it's
That's the paisley pattern, and the center the
cross-stitch and cross-stitch and chain stitches and applique with beautiful colours.
And
even,
this is, talk
even
about
when
the
you
back,
see at
yeah.
the back, it is nicely, nice and tidy work. A lot of work gone into it. It must have taken ages to finish this.
And can you talk about stitching or anything? Type of stitching?
I do not know all the stitches really. I'm not sure what stitch that is. That's
You will-
probably
yeah, you will, yeah.
probably one of those things you get. You just put them on and stitch them, don't you? One of those zigzag stuff. You can get little ribbon. And in here, is that cross stitch? No, I think it's different kind of stitch. Yeah, well, it goes round that way. It's very intricate and beautifully done. I couldn't say more than that, really.
This is a machine.
Okay, do you want to add anything to that? Yeah, about the stitching.
Well, all this embroidery is done with chain stitch. And so that when it's done on the other side, it nicely comes out evenly, neat. That's for the, I don't know what they call that, but I would think it is a cross stitch, but just half done, not cross.
Oh, half cross. Yeah, it is chain stitch. You can tell that they've been done possibly freehand, because
freehand.
they're so uneven in terms of where the tails are on the paisley.
And that's why it's neat on the outside.
But it
See
looks
the-
so thing, and they've matched up the dyeing with the colour
colours.
and the perimeters. And as we unravel it, you can see it's.
It must have taken them at least 3-4 months, or even more than that.
Maybe that, yeah.
Quite a long time.
Because it's quite a lot. It's 3 yards.
Yeah. I mean, something like this, to buy this now would be an enormous amount to
about
buy.
30, 40, 50 pounds.
Just for a metre. Because of the work that's gone into it, there's a lot of detail there. It's been well worn and obviously very loved by whoever had it on their clothing.
With the skills,
Yeah, the skills, I mean, what we found when we went to India was that a lot of the sewing skills that were there just seemed to be sadly disappearing. Younger people don't seem to get into this type of design and thing, which I think is terribly sad, because it will become possibly a lost art unless there is some sort of an artisan movement that happens in India. The border on here describes different aspects of life. So in this particular one, it's what they call baras, which is like barat.
It's doli.
Doli. And it's taking the bride to her wedding. And it's a repeat border, a repeat print, I mean. And it's very nice, got elephants. This other one that we have here is a dancing one, and they're dancing with the dandiyas, which is traditionally done in Navaratri season. So that's slightly later in the year, but the print is repeated continually. This one's got a flock print, and you can see where between my fingers is where the block seems to start and finish, but it's absolutely seamless, so you can't tell where it starts and where it finishes. So on a sari this would look incredible, because it looks like the world going round like they do in Navaratri, from what I've seen.
How long does it take you to wear a sari?
Yeah, so after 10, my daughter long time, and me 10 minutes, only just 10 minutes. Yeah, not too much. Yeah.
It take long time.
Because you are a small girl, that's why you take it long time.
I'm wearing this sari, it's from a special occasion. I think my husband bought it for Diwali,
and it's a little bit on the expensive side, and it's a little bit silky, but I love it because it hugs, and when I wear it, it's elegant, and when I wear it, it just falls nicely with me. And the blouse was made lovely, and it just fits lovely, and I feel light, and I can carry it. And I think my mother came with me to purchase it, so I do love it. It's a little bit old, but I still wear it. Actually, there's some few Indian shops in Tooting, and they've got 2 Gujaratis shops there. I got from the gentleman there, and they provided the blouse and the sewing and measured me up. And after a week, they had it all ready. Because when you buy a sari, it's just a material, but at the bottom you have to put a special border to weigh it down, and then you have to wear the matching material, which is on the end of the sari, to match and make a blouse what size and style you want. So you have to tell the tailor to do that, and it's made to measure blouse. And they try to do a fashion one, whatever the fashion is at the time. If it's a short sleeve, bare back, V-neck, and they tell you. And then the shop next to the door, they've got bangles and jewellery, and I try and get matching bangles to go with the sari. Because usually different shades of saris are with different shades of bangles. You can't never, if you don't get it in that time, you never get the same shade the following year. So that's what you have to do when you learn.
Taught you how to wear a sari?
I think it was my mum, but I think I was young, so I do remember my sisters always giving me a hand because I had 2 older sisters, and they always helped me to wear saris. And I wore a lot more saris then. I used to go to weddings, if there's a festival or we're celebrating anything, we always wore saris. And then I wore my mum's hand-me-downs or my sister's hand-me-downs. Saris, but it was quite good because we had loads. We could choose what sari colour we want or what suited me. This is my daughter Tanusha. This is her first time wearing a sari. She's wearing her grandma's sari. I love this sari. My mum gave it to me, so I thought I'll give it to her and pass the tradition. It's a little bit on the cotton side. It's not irritating her. She loves that, and it's a bit long for her, so I tucked it in a little bit long inside her, and she's wearing a matching blouse with it. And she thought it was such a long material, how are we going to put all around her, but we've managed, haven't we? And you do like it, don't you? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Is it difficult to move around?
No.
No? Do you feel sort of comfortable with it? You're good to wear it. Would you be able to wear a dance in it though? Would you do Garba?
No.
I wore a sari when I went to Garba, but what I did, I cheated. I put everything short up to an ankle. I did the pecker that you wear underneath, short, then I wear the sari really short up to the ankle, just underneath, above the ankle, so I can hop and dance. And me and my sister started a trend like that. So every Garba, every day, because there's 9 nights, we did that and wore different saris. Yeah, this is how it goes on. Yes.
We have so many nice things to say about you.
Let me go try to do that. Why you have to cut it? Why you cut it? Maybe I don't think you need even that. I think wearing without it. Yes, you're wearing without that.
Hi, Apsara.
Hello.
Hello, pretty girl. You got pinnet.
You want it like this?
Yeah.
Just like Mommy's wearing?
Yeah. When I'm older, I would wear a sari on somebody's wedding, or if there's a festival.
Would you wear a sari for your own wedding?
Yes. When I'm older, I'll wear a sari if I have my brother's wedding, or if there's a special occasion such as Holi, Diwali, and many more. Many people in India are wearing saris, and if it actually stops, there would be many complaints around India. Correct. When I grow up, I would love to wear saris during any special occasion, like my very own older sister's wedding, and if there's like anybody else's, like my family's weddings, like my cousins, and my own wedding, I would love to wear like white and red dress.
When I'm older, I would wear saris at special occasions and functions.
I would probably wear a sari at someone's wedding or special occasions, or like my sister's wedding.
The white sari is traditionally for the widows to wear. And nowadays in the UK, the widows in the Indian tradition now don't wear them.
Do you like wearing a sari?
Yes!
Okay, what is it you like about the sari? Who are we going to start with?
It's really colourful and it has nice fabric. There's so much design on it that you can have a great experience with it.
They're colourful and you can do like different styles with them. This is my grandmother's sari, and my mother wore it and now I'm wearing it.
So it's very special.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. I like it because it's colourful and it's got. I like flowers and it's got loads of flowers on it. Also, this is my auntie's and it's 10 years old.
So.
Well, I like saris because sometimes when you pick your colour, it basically expresses your feelings. So, and also it looks really nice on all people, no matter what you look like.
What does it express? So you're wearing red today. So what does that express today?
Well, it could express love.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like sun.
Uh-huh.
Blue could express water.
Mm-hmm.
Green could express nature.
Gold could express happiness.
Oh, you are wearing a chaniya chori today.
Yes.
Well, tell us about the chaniya choris.
I got it from India some time ago, like 5 years ago.
Okay, and it still fits you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And you chose the...
No, my mum chose it for me.
And do you think she has a good choice?
She does. She also got the same one for her.
Okay. First is just open. I'll do the sari video.
Okay. This is the Dakshini sari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Dakshini and Gujaratis also. This is my daughter. My daughter like too much sari, love too much sari. Yeah, because it's a pa sari. Yeah, you know. You tell me, Martin.
This is a Gujarati sari and this is my pa sari and this is so long.
पटोळा मोंघा लावजो